The high-octane trailer for Dhurandhar shows us a world of spies, explosions, and thrilling action. But what if I told you the most shocking part of the story isn't on screen? It's the chilling truth that for over a decade, a real, invisible war was fought in the bullet-ridden alleys of Lyari, Karachi. While the world dismissed it as a local gang war, Indian intelligence knew better. This is the story of the real-life Dhurandhars, the secret operations they led, and the martyrs whose identities were erased to protect a nation. Let's start with the heart of the film, Ranveer Singh's character. His story is a direct tribute to a true Indian hero, a legend in the Special Forces. Major Mohit Sharma of 1 Para SF. The film shows a deep cover operation, but the reality is even more mind-boggling. Back in 2004, Major Sharma didn't just wear a disguise to infiltrate terrorist ranks in Shopian, Kashmir. He became someone else entirely. He adopted the persona of Iftikhar Bhatt, a local man burning with a desire for revenge, claiming his brother had been killed by the Indian army. He didn't just look the part, he lived it. He managed to get so close to a group of Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists that he lived with them, ate with them, and prayed with them. He built such an incredible level of trust that they eventually asked him, Iftikhar Bhatt, to lead them in an attack against his own country's forces. Imagine the sheer nerve, but the act couldn't last forever. When they finally grew suspicious, Major Sharma didn't panic or try to run. He confronted them in a brutal, close-quarters gunfight. He neutralized 2 of their top commanders before melting back into the shadows and returning to his base. He was a ghost. This single act of unbelievable courage is the soul of the movie's protagonist. Tragically, Major Mohit Sharma was martyred in 2009 during an intense gunfight in Kupwara. Even after being shot in the chest, he continued fighting, pushing his men to safety and eliminating more terrorists before he finally succumbed to his injuries. He was posthumously awarded the Ashok Chakra, India's highest peacetime gallantry award. He was a real Dhurandhar, a man who walked into the lion's den and came out a legend. Now, let's shift our focus to the film's setting, Karachi, specifically the notorious district of Lyari. This isn't just a random, gritty location picked for cinematic effect. It was the epicenter of a real shadow war. Between 2012 and 2023, Pakistani authorities launched a massive, brutal crackdown against the powerful gangs that ruled Lyari on the surface. It looked like an internal law and order problem, but Indian intelligence was watching very, very closely. The evidence that surfaced was explosive. It was discovered that these gangs, particularly the one led by the real-life crime lord, Raman Dakiye, who likely inspires Akshay Khanna's character, were not just criminals. They were being used by Pakistan's IC. For what? To provide logistical support to the handlers of the 2611s, Mumbai attacks, and to push massive amounts of counterfeit Indian currency into our economy, aiming to destabilize it from within. Lyari wasn't just a slum, it was a strategic asset for anti-India forces. And who was fighting this war on the front lines in Karachi? The film gives us Sanjay Dutt's character, a hardened cop. He seems to be based on a real-life figure, Chaudhry Aslam Khan. Known as Karachi's encounter specialist, Aslam was a fearless and controversial police officer who took the fight directly to the terrorists and gangsters of the city. He famously said, "I will send them to hell." He survived numerous assassination attempts, until he was finally killed by a car bomb in 2014. Here's where the film's plot gets truly interesting. It weaves a compelling theory. What if Indian intelligence didn't just watch from the sidelines? What if they embedded their own operatives, their own Dhurandhars, deep within these very Karachi gangs? Their mission wouldn't be to fight gang wars, but to track the flow of terror funds, identify the 2611's masterminds, and disrupt the enemy's plans from the inside out. It suggests a clandestine operation where Indian agents risked everything, living as criminals among criminals, in the heart of enemy territory. This is the hidden conflict of Operation Lyari. So we have the soldier on the ground and the covert operative in the streets. But who is pulling the strings? Who is the architect behind this grand, dangerous chessboard? That brings us to our Matt Haven's character, the strategic mastermind named Ajit. It's impossible not to see the parallels with India's real-life spy master and current national security advisor, Ajit Doval. Known for his offensive defense doctrine, Doval's career is the stuff of legend. The film taps into a very real sentiment that was felt within Indian intelligence circles. Especially after the 26/11 attacks in 2008, there was a palpable sense of frustration, a feeling that their hands were tied by political hesitation. The movie uses actual intercepted audio from the 26/11 attacks, and even references the infamous IC-814 hijacking of 1999, an event where Ajit Doval was a lead negotiator. The core idea presented in Dhurandhar is that a secret group, a task force of the most elite and deniable assets, was formed. Their purpose was simple: to act when politicians wouldn't, to ensure that India would never be caught helpless again. These were the shadows, the real Dhurandhars, authorized to take the fight to the enemy on their soil by any means necessary. Matt Haven's character embodies this strategic, often ruthless, thinking, the idea that to protect the sheep, you need a sheepdog willing to hunt the wolves. In the end, Dhurandhar asks us a haunting question. What happens to the men and women who serve in this shadow world? The operative who spends a decade in an enemy country, loses his name, his identity, his entire past, and might die in a dirty alleyway with no one to even claim his body. These are the heroes with no names, no medals, and no graves. Their only reward is the knowledge that their sacrifice kept their country safe. The film isn't just inspired by real events. It feels like a mosaic, pieced together from the real-life sacrifices of brave hearts like Major Mohit Sharma, the gritty reality of Karachi's underbelly, and the strategic genius of men like Ajit Doval. These are the people who moved the pieces on the geopolitical chessboard, while the rest of us were busy living our lives. Completely unaware of the battles being fought in the dark on our behalf, Dhurandhar is more than just a movie. It's a glimpse into that darkness. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.